but I'm really honored to be here. It's true, I haven't met Mulai, and I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn. I may be slow to response, but I typically read them. Some of them come from other parts of the world that may be interested in what I'm doing. But anytime I see a link with Gambia, young people, no matter what it is, I'm going to say yes. Because I don't see it as an opportunity, I see it as a responsibility. You guys are very fortunate to be the first Gambians to have an opportunity to experience higher education in something like this. I really hope you guys don't take that for granted, because there'll never be another generation of Gambians that bless these halls to build the future. Most people, their experience about University of the Gambia or college education. I've been to a lot of universities in the world. Very few people have the privilege of this. So oftentimes, even when I hear about people saying Faraba is far, X, Y, and Z, we have a tendency to not appreciate things that are gifts. So it's a really big honor to be here, and I'm really, really excited because every single day I wake up as a Gambian, I have a million reasons why Gambia is broken. Every Gambian on the street will tell you everything that is wrong about the Gambia. But the moment you ask them, what are you doing? There's silence. And oftentimes, countries are transformed at the universities in that country. Because the process of not schooling, education, there's a difference. You could be highly schooled and uneducated. You could be unschooled and highly educated. A lot of us come from mothers, especially, who are the most educated human beings that we know. They never sat in a university classroom. My mother is one of them. She's the most astute businesswoman I know. She doesn't have an MBA. She never sat in a university classroom. But even now, yes, I have a healthcare background, but I'm also an entrepreneur. I learned more about business from my mother. How to deal with people, how to create value, how to be emotionally intelligent. So most people that may even know my family and know my dad, because he worked as a Gambian ambassador for a very long time, worked in the civil service, it's quick for them to think that he's the champion of the house, because he has these master's degrees, he has all this education. But my mother was the educator in our household. The university is designed for you to think about what is possible. That's why it's a lab, it's an incubation, it's an environment where any idea that you have is worthy of being put to the table. It's also a time period in your life where you should give your permission to question every single thing that you were taught growing up. That's what the university is designed to do. The skills, that's fine. I was in college until I was 28 years old. I was sitting in classrooms until I was 28 years old. I'm turning 38 next week. But most of what I learned from a didactic perspective, I'm using maybe 2% of what my doctor of pharmacy degree taught me. I'm using maybe 2% of what my bachelor's degree in chemistry taught me. But the ability to think, the ability to imagine, even as Innovax Global Health, the vision of Innovax Global Health happened when I was sitting in a classroom. My final year as a doctor of pharmacy student, I had a project, and they told me, if you had a blank canvas, what would you create from a healthcare standpoint? And it was in that moment in 2011 that Innovax Global Health started. Because the first thing I imagined was, yes, I'm living in the USA as a healthcare professional. I am going to build a healthcare model that is designed for the USA to start in Africa. So the journey of, even before you talk about employment, before you talk about entrepreneurship, you should talk about incubation, self-renovation, building your internal capacity and allowing yourself to know that things are possible. Because every single one of you guys in here, I know there's a quiet voice in you that sometimes is in the middle of the night, sometimes it's after Fajr prayers. There's something in you that speaks to you about what you want to do. Sometimes you could be scared because you may think that's too big. Sometimes you can have insecurities like, it cannot be me. Sometimes you can be very, very lonely because you don't want to tell your friend next to you and they tell you, are you crazy? That could never be you. Sometimes that's God telling you, I've already gifted you with this. It's not a gift, it becomes a responsibility. Most people that are successful in life think they're amazing human beings. God gives all of us with a genius in one thing. Every human being on earth, you're God's instrument. As if He put you on earth to do something that you're going to succeed in it. Most people in their lifetime fail to realize what that is. Or if they realize it, they think society is going to think it's too small for them to stay a student of that. And they miss their gift because they chase something else. I'm going to repeat that. Every human being, God has given you a gift so that you could be His instrument while you're alive. You guys know scientifically the moment you're born, you're a mathematical miracle. Everybody understands that, right? The moment you're born, you're a miracle. Because during the 9 months conception, there's a million reasons why we were not born. At birth, a lot of kids don't make it. Every single day that you wake up, you could have died at night. You guys ever wonder, why did God allow me to wake up today? How many of you guys think about death on a day-to-day basis by raising hands? How many people are afraid of dying too soon? Nobody's afraid of death? You gotta not be honest with me. Because Gambia, you start talking about them, hey, you're gonna be dead. That's what people say. But you guys know why you should think about death often? Because we're already dead. The moment you're born, you start dying. Every second on earth will never come back. Time is the most and only non-renewable resource on earth. You can lose all your money and make it back. You can lose a marriage and get married again. Time is one thing you can't buy. But also time is the great unknown. Which is why every precious time, who you spend it with, what you spend it on, if it's not productive or positive, you're gambling. It's the most valuable resource there. Okay, how many companies do you think create or retain 1,000 employees that are Gambian, as in their labor force? In any sector, business, healthcare, technology. If you remove the Gambia government, which is a social welfare program, you guys know that, right? When was the last time you heard a government worker lose their job? You guys know it's a social welfare program. It's full of redundancies. A job that one person could do, 4 people do it. There's really not a strong accountability system. You could show up to work at 10 a.m. It's a social welfare program. You have still some government offices that somebody's job is to type a letter. In 2023. So if you remove the government as the source of employment, you guys see Gambia has a problem. Because we have a workforce that is not equipped with the skills to build capital. A lot of countries that you see that are considered wealthy, like China. You guys think China was wealthy 30 years ago? Yes or no? Who thinks China was wealthy 30 years ago? Who thinks Singapore was wealthy 30 years ago? What do those countries have in common? What did they decide that they were going to be really good at doing? Building capacity. Any country that has a lot of capital and labor is not homegrown, sustained, developed, the capital will come in and the capital will do what? So that's the Gambian story right now. That's the Gambian conundrum. Even people that want to provide employment, majority of our young people, and I don't like using the word young in Gambia because you're young until you're 50 years old. You could be bald like myself, have a wife, have a child, and considered a youth. And I'm 38 years old next week. Even though the average Gambian man dies before 65. So I've already lived half my life already. But in our cultural setting, high liability. Right? But labor is what builds capital. Labor is what builds prosperity in a nation. You could have all the capital in the world. Most of the young individuals lack skills, which that's all it is. Not education, skills to create capital. Because the moment you're good at something, all of you guys will graduate with a degree. Meaning you have the skill that somebody is going to trade your skills and your time for what? Money. In order to leverage your skills to make more what? Money. So even from an employer, and I'll tell you why I know the crisis of Gambia. Because in Overix Global Health, I have about 75 employees in the company. So every month, our payroll sits at a little bit over $1 million a month of payroll. But I've gone through 250 Gambians over a 4-year period, arrive at 75. And my 75 are not all Gambians. Because in order for your business to be sustained in the Gambia to grow, the Gambia hasn't reached a saturation point where you could be a successful Gambian with only Gambian talent. So I'm going to speak to you guys as a Gambian. Because if I was a foreigner, I wouldn't be honest with you guys. Most people get frustrated because they say people that are non-Gambians don't provide jobs for Gambians. It's true. If you look at the Gambian economy from an employment standpoint, people like going into selling products, not providing services. Providing services needs you need human beings. You need to invest in human development. If you want to be in the service industry, you need human capital, not financial capital. If I want to sell products, I just need somebody who knows how to collect money and knows what the price of the product is. The economy cannot run without products. I don't diminish anybody who's in the commodity business. But our nation, when it comes to employment, service is the engine for economic development. Service in education, service in healthcare, service in agriculture. All these components that you need a workforce that is capable enough to create value. You create value, more people will trade value for money, and then you as a laborer start earning income, meaning spending power, and prosperity becomes a reality. But even when it comes to employment in some of our donor organizations, have you guys noticed they keep talking about poverty reduction and not prosperity creation? Who knows the difference? Poverty reduction versus prosperity creation. Poverty reduction is find 100 kids, give them 2 bags of rice. That's poverty reduction. Prosperity creation is taking 100 kids, investing 10 years, putting them in a university where they learn agricultural economy, give them all the equipment to start large-scale farming, and in a generation, they've built wealth. I need you guys to pay attention. Which one is harder? Prosperity creation. What do we do more of? Most people that are non-Gambians, what do they favor most? This one makes me look good. GRTS is going to show up. I'm going to take a picture. Actually, I feel like I've done something. And in 60 days that bag of rice is done. Has that person's situation changed? No. Do they know how to grow rice? This one, even if he was poor, as in his great-grandfather did not even own a bicycle, in one generation, he could own a private jet as a farmer. The moment farmers start owning private jets, do you think there's going to be a problem with young people going into farming? You guys see the difference?
Yeah.
The richest people in America are farmers. Here you tell somebody I come from a farming background, they think you come from a poor background. So I hope you guys see the link in terms of how important labor is and how important it is for you to be employable. Because the honest truth is, most people leave universities ill-prepared to be employable because their skill sets are not refined yet. Their character and discipline is lacking. So you enter a workforce where, remember, somebody is trading your expertise and what you bring in for money. That's what a contract is. Your TOR is an understanding. What's your name? Mutar. If Mutar is an amazing nurse, and Usman tells me, hey, I think you should talk to Mutar. As an employer, the first day I meet Mutar, what am I thinking? All his skills, I could leverage it in enormous global health. Meaning every patient that walks in, if they see Mutar, that patient is never leaving. So now I'm engaging in a contract because I trust Mutar's capabilities, not for me, but for my patients. Because the end goal is, I don't want to lose my patients. So now you think if Mutar wakes up one day as a good employer and tells me I just had a wife and kids, this $20,000 a month is not going to cut it. I need 25. What do you think happens? How many people think he'll go home the next month with more than 20? By raise of hands. Why? He's an asset. What's the opposite of an asset? If Mutar was late every day, if every month I get a complaint from patients and Mutar is taking care of them without gloves on, Mutar is coming to work as a healthcare professional with syllabus on. At 2 o'clock, a patient is coming in that's sick. He's leaving because he cannot miss his prayer. And then Mutar at the end of the month comes to me and says, I want 25,000. What do you think happens? She described him as an asset. Every one of you guys, as I mentioned, you have a gift and something that you could provide value. The moment you realize your gift, you start sharpening your skills. Who in this room knows what they're good at? One thing that comes natural to you, that a lot of people have to try really, really hard to do. And maybe that's a skill you guys need to know from an employment standpoint. You guys should know, I am really good at doing this, that I don't even have to try hard. It just comes natural. But for other people, they really have to try to be able to do it. As a human being, you always need to know, what are my gifts? What am I really, really good at? Because your self-worth is improved. And I guarantee you, anything that you keep doing religiously, you slowly achieve mastery in it to a point where you'll always be an asset as an employee. So you guys are seniors, meaning you're entering the workforce when? By next year? Anytime soon. You guys better do strength finders. You better know what you're good at. Like somebody mentioned negotiation. You guys think Gambian employees get paid enough? No. Why is that?
Well, the economy is not strong.
You said the economy is strong. It's not strong. Is the economy weak? People say in Gambia there's no money in Gambia. Are you sure? Have you guys been here in December when Yusuf comes? Have you guys seen what people are spending for weddings and kulios and stuff? So where's the money going? So why is it that the general sentiment when it comes to employees is that they're not getting paid more? Why is that? Where's the money going? Because us as employers, some of us, don't see value. You're interchangeable. You want to quit, somebody else will take your job for half the cost. And employment rate is high. There is no incentive as an employer for you to employ people in the Gambia. And this is a lot of policy things that I wouldn't delve into. But the system gives businesses no incentive to provide employment. And what's the minimum wage in Gambia? So we started, the number one rule in business is do what? Don't lose money. Human resource is expensive, right? So if there's no incentive to create employment, there's no incentive to provide a living wage, why should we hire Gambians? How many businesses close their businesses for bad customer service in Gambia? Have you guys ever heard that? Where people just stop spending money at a company because they don't provide good customer service to Gambians. Most of you guys are consumers. How many of you guys, when you wake up, do you go into the business and see, where are the Gambians? Am I treated well when I come here? Do they respect me as a human being? Do they give me the dignity, irrespective of whether I'm a VIP or not? But you still go back and spend money? So if the environment is where, as an employer, I have no incentive to hire, people are not going to stop using my business because of bad service. The government definitely does not incentivize me for providing employment. I could pay people a wage that I know can't even feed their own family or feed themselves. Where's the incentive? So going back to land, labor, and capital. If the labor problem is not fixed, Gambia becomes and is a place where people come to extract capital at the least amount of cost as possible from a labor standpoint. They may or may not buy land. Then they leave. And 20 years later, how would our country develop? What's going to be the incentive to provide employment? Who's going to choose prosperity creation versus poverty reduction? Who's going to see you guys that are the beacon of hope of Africa, not only Gambia. All of you guys should be equipped with skills that are international. There's more Gambian minds outside of Gambia building and sustaining institutions while our country is rotting away. Our number one export when it comes to resources is our Gambian minds. We've lost more generations of Gambian intellectuals. That Gambia is a place where their kids just come for holiday. Every Eid they put them on any kind of outfit, take pictures, send it to you on Facebook. They're investing in other countries. They're creating employment in other countries. They may take care of their family members. And when they die, even if they die outside, they'll spend like $10,000 or $12,000 to bring a dead body home so that it could be buried in Gambia. So whose responsibility is to fix that? Who? You guys, it's not loud enough. So how do we get there? Attitudinal change? Working on our skills? What else? Stop creating opportunities. Stop thinking about poverty reduction. How many of you guys think you have a God-given right to be wealthy? A God-given right to make money for what you do, without shame. Only a few of you guys? Everybody who put their hand down, you'll always be exploited because you don't know your value. I go back to the amazing nursing talk. If he never realizes what he's good at, he'll always be underpaid. He'll never get what he's worth. But the moment he knows his worth and he's continuously working on himself, he has power. And he's going to do it so well that he'll achieve mastery to go out and build something that he owns. And then he goes from employee to what? Employer. He focuses on building human development. So you're increasing the labor capital of the country. He's gonna make more money because business is all about value for money. You don't enter entrepreneurship to be a millionaire. You enter entrepreneurship to make enough money so that the money becomes a tool, a vehicle to invest in human beings, to create more value, and you sustain our country. So most people that see me now and see I want to be an entrepreneur, I guarantee you, you don't have to. It's not for everybody. You have to be ready. You have to be willing to pay 75 people a month knowing that you won't be able to get paid. You have to be able to get everything that you own and put it on something that you believe in because you have a why. If that is not strong, you're going to quit. But I guarantee you, if you focus on self-development, improving your skills, employers will always fight over you. So you guys are in the lab right now. You're being incubated. You guys know what incubation is? Work and hone in on skills that you know anywhere that they put you on. You have an ability to provide value, and somebody's always going to trade what you're good at for what? For money. And let's stop being shameful about money. We're too humble sometimes as a people. That's why it's easy to take advantage of us. We don't know what we're worth sometimes. Honestly, I meet so many young Gambians who what I see in them, they don't see it in themselves. So they always just say thank you very much. So whatever's dead in us needs to be alive. Land, we've been blessed with land. All of us are Gambians by accident. So I even want you guys to think Africa. Who here in this room, great-grandfather was born in Gambia? And you know that for a fact. That's a trick question. Gambia did not exist when your great-grandfather was alive. It just happened to be in this region. You guys get what I'm saying? Africa is our playground. All of us just ended up in Gambia in 1888 or wherever that Berlin conference is. They just cut the Gambia because the English wanted the river and we're stuck for 56 years. So as you matriculate and become employers, it's good to add value to the society that you're in, but don't limit yourself. We live in a day and age where Philippines now, majority of young Filipinos that are techies work for businesses all over the world. Today I have a business now that 50% of my revenue comes from people that don't live in Gambia. So if people tell me the Gambia market is small, I was like, are you sure? Which Gambian you know that doesn't have somebody in their family that needs health care? So you gotta see opportunities. But focus on how do I position myself to earn some skills, and that takes time and discipline. Build my confidence and be willing to work and learn for somebody who appreciates you to a point where if you choose to make that transition from employee to employer, do it for all the right reasons. Remember when you felt like you were underpaid. Remember when you had to deal with a boss who was rude to you. Remember when you felt like you were a woman and they did not give you opportunities because you were a woman. Remember all those things as building blocks that when you become a formidable citizen that is truly committed to transforming our nation. I'm doing it now. I don't know how much longer I could do it. Because all of us are here for a finite amount of time. So if you have to remember anything from what I'm saying right now is, nobody is coming to save us. Nobody. Only you guys could equip yourself and join me. That will become an army. We have one motive. We have one mission. We get to a point where people's character and their qualifications give them opportunities, not because I'm related to you or you're my cousin. We get to a point where us as Gambian business people that are employing Gambians keep pushing the bar to increase the value that we're putting into our employees by paying them a dignified wage.